All right, so here is an example of how to do the coding. So what I have open here are the scans coding instructions. The first step is to find your assigned images. So I'm going to click here. It's going to open up a folder that contains everyone's assignment. You will go through and find your name. So here's my name. And I'm going to keep this in a separate window, just to make it easier to see. Now you'll have approximately 1,000 data points assigned. Obviously I only have 8, but I am going to code all 8 of them for you just so you can see what it looks like. All right, so I don't need this folder anymore. I'm going to exit out of it. And now I am going to follow the instructions, how to code individual drawings. There's a tip here to have multiple browser windows open. You will see why that is important in a moment. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to search for your assigned images. So my first assigned image is 51519AL underscore BCK underscore A05. There is no chance whatsoever that I'm going to type that, so I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm sure you know this, but Control C or Command C allow you to copy things. I'm then going to open up the folder containing all of the drawings. Now these drawings are divided into 4 subfolders and then 1 additional folder. BCK stands for drawings of baby cats and kittens. LB stands for drawings of lollipops and balloons. OCK stands for other old cat or kitten, and PC stands for participant and child, or parent and child rather. There's also a folder that contains completed single images. You won't be using that very much. So if I look in the instructions, they tell me to select the first image in my column, I just did that, and search for it in the drawings folder. So I'm going to just use the search function and search for it, and it shows up right here. All right, so I'm going to click on it and it's going to open up the image for me. All right, so this is the child's drawing. All right, wow, that's not a very good drawing. All right, so next my job is to actually code the drawing. So once you have found your image, enter your responses for it in the image ID coding entry form. And this is the thing you're going to want to keep in a separate window also. All right, so the first box wants my name, then it wants the file name. I'm going to just paste what I already pasted. It wants the subject ID, and that's actually really easy to find. It's that first bit of stuff right before the first underscore. So you can just actually delete all the extra stuff at the end of the file name. And then trial type. It wants to know if it's lollipop balloon, old cat kitten, baby cat or kitten, and or parent and child. I see that the file name has BCK in it, so I'm going to click baby cat kitten. I click next, and then I get to make my judgment. This picture is, and then -5 is definitely baby cat, -3 is plausibly baby cat, -1 is hint of baby cat, 0 is neutral, 1 is hint of kitten, 3 is plausibly kitten, and 5 is definitely kitten. So if I look at this picture, I don't know what it's supposed to be. I'm going to rank it as a 0. Now, you might be thinking, what's the difference between a baby cat and a kitten? As you will learn in part of this course, that is one of our research questions. So you can kind of put that aside. If it doesn't strongly speak to you as either a baby cat or a kitten, you're going to choose 0 for neutral. You'll submit it, and it's going to give you a chance to submit another response. Since I know I'm going to be doing more coding, I'm going to click that. Now, if I return to my instructions, it says once you've finished, cross it off your list, strike through, change it to a different color, or mark done in the column next to it, anything that allows you to track that you've completed this one. So I'm going to strike it through. For those on Macs, that's Command-Shift-X. And I'm going to go on to the next image. So I go, I search for it, I found it. Okay. I'm going to fill out all of the files. This says OCK in the file name, so I know it's old cat kitten. I'll click on that. And I'm going to click neutral because once again, I'm not really sure whether this is supposed to be an old cat or a kitten. I'll click submit and I'll submit another response. Now I go, cross off the assignment I've already done and copy the next one. I'll open it up, enter my name, enter the file name, remove the last bit so it's just the subject number. This is either a lollipop or a balloon, and oh, huh, I actually kind of have an opinion on this. So I think that is plausibly a lollipop because lollipops have that kind of spiral shape. And so in my view, in my opinion, I'm going to put this as a -3 plausibly lollipop. Now, a reasonable person might disagree with me. For example, some of you might look in this bottom corner and say, you know what, that doesn't look like a lollipop to me. That looks like a balloon with a twirling string underneath it. If that's what you think, you might want to put it as hint of balloon or plausibly balloon. All of these images are coded by so many people that it doesn't really matter um, if your opinion differs from any other individual. We just want to know your best judgment. All right, it looks like we have one more image to code in the image ID column. So I will code this one. Okay. My name, once again, is Jess S. Here's my file name. Here's the subject number. This is either a parent or a child. I'm going to click Next. And here again, I think reasonable people could disagree. I think it would be very reasonable to say that you're going to choose neutral. In this case, I feel like that's a real short kid. I'm going to say it's a hint of child. But again, that's just my personal judgment. I'll submit it. I will mark this as completed, and I am done with the image ID coding. But there's another column, which is paired coding, and that's a different task. So let's go ahead and check that out. All right, so this is how to code individual drawings. On the next page, it says how to code paired drawings. Once again, there are 4 categories, and they're the same categories: lollipop or balloon, old cat or kitten, baby cat or kitten, and parent and child. We're going to follow the exact same procedure. We're going to search for the image. We're going to click on the Google form, but this time it's a different Google form. And then we're going to provide our judgment. And this time the judgment is going to be, oops, sorry about that, how similar the 2 drawings are. So I'm looking for the first image. And I'll note this says 02 1219 KD OCK P13. I can search for that using the search image. I do want to note that I could also look for it manually. That's going to take you longer, but it is possible. All right, so the subject number, I'm going to remove this last bit. Trial type, it was OCK. And remember, that's going to be up on the upper left-hand side of your screen. So if you forget what image you're looking at, you can always look there. So OCK stands for Old Cat Kitten. I'm going to click on it and it says, how similar are these 2 drawings? A rating of 1 is completely different and a rating of 10 is exactly the same. These are exactly the same. I'll give them an 8. They're almost exactly the same. I'll submit. I will mark that I've completed this and I'll submit another response. Let's see what this one is. Okay, this was either the parent or the child. I will give these guys a 9. They're really similar to one another, aren't they? All right. Submit another response. Whoops. So I'll copy this. This is going to be an old cat and kitten comparison. I'm going to say that these are an 8 for similarity. They're really similar to me. And let's do one more. Whoops. Wow, what is that? Okay. These guys look a little different. So this is an old cat or a kitten. I know that because it says OCK, so I'm going to click on that. How similar are these? I'm going to say they're like a 4. They're quite different from one another, but they're not so different that I actually know what either of them are, right? It seems like the child did something different on these 2 drawings, but it's not systematic enough. You know what? I might even give it a 5, right? You could call them both scribbles, so they're similar in that way. They both kind of have this round shape. They're about the same size. So they're kind of in between. All right, I'll submit that. I've now coded 8 trials. This took me moving extremely slowly, about 10 minutes. People who are efficient can expect to be able to complete about one a minute or even a little shorter than that. Anyway, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions.